The Tiger tank was a German heavy tank during World War II that operated usually in independent heavy tank battalions. It gave the German army its first armored fighting vehicle that mounted the 8.8 cm anti-tank gun. In the first weeks of Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the German troops encountered large numbers of Soviet T-34 medium and KV-1 heavy tanks. According to the Henschel Company's chief designer, there was great consternation when it was discovered that the Soviet tanks were superior to anything available to us. The due date for a new German heavy tank prototype was set for the 20th of April 1942, Adolf Hitler's 53rd birthday. Both Ferdinand Porsche and Henschel submitted prototype designs, each making use of the Krupp-designed turret. They were demonstrated at Rastenburg in front of Hitler. The new Porsche tank, designated the VK4501, was to be powered by twin air-cooled gasoline engines which were mounted to the rear of the tank. Each of the twin engines would then drive a separate generator, one for either side of the tank, which would then power each of the two electric motors, one powering each track from the rear drive sprocket. But the engines and drivetrain were generally new and unorthodox designs for a tank, and due to being underdeveloped, were prone to breakdown or required frequent maintenance. It was also very difficult for the Third Reich to obtain additional amounts of quality copper to build whole new fleets of vehicles with electric drives, in addition to the increasing demands of the U-boat fleet, which used very similar diesel-electric transmissions, which worked perfectly well. And while it was easy enough to obtain quality copper to build a single prototype, once series production began, this became more difficult. Losing to its Henschel competitor on trials, Porsche's design was not selected for mass production, and the Henschel design was produced as the new Tiger I heavy tank. But the chassis was later chosen to be the basis of some new tank designs. The most famous one was the heavy Jagdpanzer or tank hunter, which would eventually be called the Ferdinand and mount the new, longer 8.8 cm gun. But there were other developments as well. The most interesting one was a heavily armored ramming vehicle armed with machine guns, the VK4501 Ramtiger. Based on the experiences of the Stalingrad street fighting, the German Army High Command decided to build a short series of barricade and obstacle destroyer tanks based on the new chassis. Theoretically, the vehicle could have destroyed entire houses in a city and could have created a clear path for other tanks and infantry. This vehicle was to be a standard VK4501 hull mounted with streamlined upper superstructure and front-mounted plow. The shape of the armor also allowed for rubble to easily side off the vehicle so that it could drive out from under a destroyed barricade or collapsed building. The upper armor was 50 mm on the upper surfaces and 30 mm thick on the frontal plate and sides and the rear. Access could be achieved by the primary rear hatch supplemented by an auxiliary upper axis hatch. It is thought that the vehicle was to be operated by a basic crew of a driver and one or more machine gun operators. In May of 1943, 3 superstructures were completed and 3 Ram Tigers were ready in August of 1943. Their fate is unknown, but it is unlikely that they saw any combat, and probably they remained at the Nibelungenwerke yard till the end of the war. For some time, a photo circulated on the internet showing a parked Ram Tiger between T-34 tanks after capture. But the Ram Tiger in this photo proved to be a fake one. An interesting fact is that the concept of barricade and obstacle destroyer tanks was used later, however, under totally different circumstances. When the German cities were being devastated by air bombing in the last part of the war, some German tanks and some German assault guns which were repaired in Germany did not return to their units, but were used as obstacle clearing vehicles in Germany. With their help, a clean path could be created for the ambulance and fire cars in a relatively short time. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.